told me to drop my drawers, and then like, oh shit.
Took advantage of me. I was vulnerable at the time because I was having an argument.
Delete episode 6, whatever episode.
All right. I know we still got some other ones on the way, but I wanted to talk to you guys about the Tracy Morgan incident, or at least the controversial thing that supposedly happened.
Probably that's interesting. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
So Tracy Morgan was, I guess, walking into a building or outside with
he was coming out to Staples Center.
Coming out to Staples Center, and I guess you meet and greet fans, you say hi and bye, but I guess this guy walked up to him and said, "Hey, do you remember who I am?" And Tracy Morgan remembered who he was, and I guess apparently the guy used to bully him when he was real young, not sure of the age, but the guy was homeless. So he was like, "Hey, can you help me out? I'm giving abroad. I don't know all the details."
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit more. So they used to, he was a comic. They were coming up in the comic scene around the same time or whatever. And I guess, I guess as comics, they, going back and forth and ribbing each other or whatever. But whatever the case, this guy was like, more than just the ribbing or whatever. And it got to the point where like Tracy was just like, yeah, I know it's not like, I don't fuck with this dude. And he was just like a real asshole to him or whatever. And so Tracy was coming outside of the game. It was a basketball game or something. They were coming out, and they had the celebrity VIP exit or whatever. And he was coming out, and I guess people were crowding around the cameras and stuff. So this guy must have known that he was coming out of there, and he knows that there's cameras around and stuff, and obviously they know that they got history, whatever. So he, approached him, and he, was saying, "Hey, can you do something for me, or can you help me out, or something like that?" And Tracy saw him, and he was like, "No," he was like, he's like, "I know who you are," and he was like, "And I remember what you said to me, when we were younger." He's like, "I ain't forgot," or whatever. He's like, "Can you do something for me?" He was like, "No." He was like, "No, I ain't forgot," or whatever. And he said, "But I'm homeless." And he said, "I ain't do that." He was like, "I'm good." He was like, "All right, that ain't got nothing to do with me." And like all the people around, and like, so he was getting a little backlash about it or whatever. It was like, at what point do you?
Yeah, he was getting backlash.
But it was
because he's homeless. I'm guessing people felt like that should have discounted whatever the hell beef they had back in the day or whatever.
But like to the contrary, like you you become rich and famous, and you got some money, you got some weight, you doing well for your life.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I thought you said to make
no, that's legit.
Hold on. Wait, what are people mad about? They mad
I'm gonna break it down for you.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna laugh in my head though, because I think this shit is hilarious.
But what happened was people started to have conversation about it, because there was a lot of people in that type of position that Tracy Morgan was in. You got a little bit of money, you got a little bit of fame, you up there, you doing well in your life, but you see somebody you used to know or somebody you used to hang out with, or they treated you poorly, they bully you, but then you see them later on in life. That shit happened to me now. I see people I used to hang out with. A lot of times they ain't doing so well, and they ask for help. And for me, no, you was an asshole to me. I ain't giving you shit. How would you handle that situation? You got money now. You see somebody that you used to hang out with. They was either a good friend, they was a bully. Like, would you help that person? Like, but some people were trying to tell Tracy Morgan, like, no, you wrong. Like, you God has blessed you. You're doing well for yourself. I'm just saying, you know how the social media world is.
Man, fuck social media. You know what? This has been boiling up on me in a minute. Society nowadays sucks. People suck. And I'm just letting it out there. I no longer care, because people just make up the rules as they go. Yes, and to sit up here and tell me that somebody treated you like shit, dogged your name, dragged you through the mud, and then had the audacity to turn around out of all people and ask you for something, and when you say no, now all of a sudden they the asshole. How does that work? How does that work? Because I'm the biggest asshole that ever walked the planet then. Because don't come to me like that. I was like, I can understand if it was a good friend or there was something in the past that we got disconnected and we were still on good terms, and now that I see you, then I understand. Now, if it's within reason that I can help you, like get a meal or something, or I got a couple of extra $100 in my pocket that I'm not going to miss, then okay. But I'm not about to extend and put myself in a bad situation or even a compromised situation to bend over backwards to somebody that I don't like. That's just not part of the game. It's like, no.
What with the old girl that you used to like, but they used to call you a clown. Nobody ain't gonna talk to you, man.
Called all types
Can
of
you
names.
help me?
Yeah, beat it.
Man, I'm
Rocks.
struggling.
They got only fans now.
You driving a Mercedes now?
The only argument that I kind of understood a little bit was the argument was like. I wouldn't have, went out my way to, to do anything or whatever like that for him. But I probably wouldn't have. They were like, he was like, I wouldn't have, talked to him like that, especially with the cameras, because then it comes back on the, your reception, and then, they were just like, I would have said like, I got nothing for you, like, me and you got history or whatever. And he was like, I got nothing for you.
So, I mean, outside of Tracy Morgan telling the dude, like, no, I remember what you said. Did he say anything derogatory? Like, that was...
these social media...
He didn't say anything. He did. The guy didn't say anything else. He, asked him could he help him out or whatever. And Tracy, after Tracy said, like, no, I got nothing for you. He's like, I remember you. I remember what you said. And then the guy... he said something else, and then I think he like asked him like, you can't help me out, and Tracy was like, no. But like the tone of Tracy's voice, it sounded like he was really triggered, and like in the moment he was like his tone of voice was very aggressive. He was just like, no, and said like super loud. And then when the guy said, I'm homeless, he was like, I ain't do that. He was like, I ain't do that. And it was just like, I think people was like, just like I said, the only argument that I had any small amount of agreement with was just like, I just would have, the tone of voice and the interaction he would have just did it differently. He was like, nah, I just got nothing for you, and would have just kept it moving, as opposed to
it was a black guy.
Yeah, it was a black guy. And the crazy thing, this black guy, I think he had dreads, but he had a coat on. The coat looked like a decent coat. He, like, I don't know, it's different situations from being homeless, but it's just like, it looked like a nice coat to me.
I wonder if it was a white dude that sat there and called Tracy Morgan a nigga back in the day, and then asked for help, would the outrage would have still been the same. Like, I remember you called me a nigga. Everybody in the crowd would have probably jumped dude and whooped his ass. I was like, it's the same rules apply. It's like, okay, it's no different from that. Take it as that. What if dude like said something against his mom after his mom just died?
I mean, who knows? Like, I don't think Tracy has ever came out and spoke on the situation afterward or whatever, and actually clarified it. Yep. It's all just been hearsay and people that claim to be familiar with the situation and all this other stuff. I don't think Tracy actually confirmed anything. Yeah. But only thing we know is, apparently, whatever the hell interaction or relationship they had back in the day, Tracy wasn't too fond of the way their last few interactions.
Probably stole his girl or some shit.
I'm on Tracy's side for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I don't. Like I said, I wouldn't. I'm like, that's just not how I talk to people. Like I said, it was pretty aggressive. Even though he didn't like get in his face, he was like still moving through the crowd or whatever. But it's just like, I'd have been like, dog, I got nothing for you, man. Like, hey, you know what our relationship was. Like, I got nothing for you, and we would have kept it moving. But that's the only thing, and that's even still. It's like, hey, you can't fucking tell people how to react. It's like I see it all the time. Yeah. I'm like, every time, anytime you see, the videos, people always get mad at the reaction, but they don't get mad at the action that caused the reaction. Right. It's like when you see a fight or whatever, or somebody in somebody's face and they swing on them, and then the other person swing back and knock them out. Then all of a sudden, everybody jumping up like, oh, stop! Like, motherfucker, he swung on me first. Oh yeah, it's like how you. It's like any situation. It's like, hey, and especially when it's a man and a woman. Like, especially if it's like a man and a woman or something like that.
Fight on that cruise we went on. on too, because dude talking shit. I was like, man, you lucky.
Get into a fight with me on Carnival Cruise. Overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people always get mad at the reaction, especially when it's a man and a woman going back and forth, and the woman is just saying like the most vile shit, and the man is like trying to walk away. The woman all in his face, and then she started hitting him, and then he finally swing back, and now everybody want to jump in, and everybody got something to say, and it's like, yo, none of y'all was trying to get this chick out of my face.
You remember the brick lady?
Oh,
the lady got hit in the face with the brick, and now all of a sudden she started a GoFundMe, and she raised a whole bunch of money, but then they took it away from her because they found her she was lying.
Oh, I know which one you talking about.
I remember seeing. I don't remember what the incident was.
Well, she tried to claim that the guy threw a brick in her face, but then she, when the video came out, that she was all in his face and slapped him, and he was like, oh, then he fixed his glasses, and then all of a sudden you see a brick flying through the air, and you get smacked and wake up in the hospital.
My dad used to call them alley biscuits.
Alley biscuits,
catch an alley biscuit.
Good Lord, how you throw a brick at somebody's face, man?
Shit, you get mad enough. Yeah, like you talk the right amount of shit, you'll catch one.
All right, we gonna next one.
I can piggyback off of that. I was thinking, like, do you think society? I know your answer probably, but
here we go.
Do you think society has taken empathy too far, as far as like just the trying to justify every situation and give people passes for everything because they've been through X, Y, Z in their past and stuff. It's like if you've been through a trauma 20 years ago, it's like, does that still give you license to be an asshole today?
I think,
or just be an all around bad person.
I think in today's time when we have everything going on through social media, and you got the individuals that post all their business online, or whether if you profit from it, some people, it doesn't give you a pass to be an asshole. It also doesn't give you a pass to where if you need help, if you need closure, get that shit. Because you cannot just keep using that shit to shit on people.